I look forward to your questions.
Thank you. Peter?
Mr. Secretary, regarding North Korea, would you say that is North Korea more dangerous now than you think it was 6 months or a year ago? And could you talk both about the decision to send the B-2s to South Korea for this exercise? Was that not more of a provocative move by the United States? Does that risk provocating North Korea to do something more so than they might have already been?
Well, first, we, the United States, South Korea, have not been involved in provocating anything. We, over the years, have been engaged with South Korea on joint exercises. The B-2 flight was part of that. I made an announcement a couple of weeks ago regarding new missile defense capabilities, which cuts to your question about is North Korea more dangerous today. I think they're very provocative actions and belligerent tone. It has ratcheted up the danger. And we have to understand that reality. We, the United States, South Koreans, all of the nations in that region of the world are committed to a pathway to peace. And the North Koreans seem to be headed in a different direction here. So we will unequivocally defend, and we are unequivocally committed to that alliance with South Korea, as well as our other allies in that region of the world. And we will be prepared, we have to be prepared, to deal with any eventuality there. Thank you.
Secretary, along those lines, last week General Thurman, the U.S. commander there, signed with his South Korean counterpart something called a combined counter-provocation plan. It talks about consultations with the South in light of any, North Korean provocations. We've been told this is an effort to kind of put a brake on things, to prevent things from escalating, to have a calming effect. Would you agree with that? And if not, what's the point of having this plan?
Yeah, I can actually help you with that, sir, because this has been about a 2-year process. And I wouldn't describe it at all as trying to put a brake on our very close South Korean allies. I think...
a brake on escalation.
Well, I mean, look, you know that General Thurman wears 3 hats. One of them is a UN hat, and he's responsible for sustaining the armistice, and then he has his Combined Forces Command hat and his U.S. Forces Korea hat. So he has to have not only visibility and transparency, but he has to have influence in the process of managing the potential for conflict on the peninsula. So this was just essentially allowing him and my South Korean counterpart, General Jung, to come to agreement about how that influence will be handled.
So why now?
Well,
the alliance has been around for 60 years, and presumably you've had consultations going back that far.
Sure. I think the answer to that question is that this has been an ongoing effort to have a counter-provocation plan over the last 2 years in recognition of the stated position of the South Korean government that they no longer are willing to be provoked. And so we wanted to make sure we understood what that meant.
Mr. Secretary?
When
Kim Jong-un took power, he was somewhat of an unknown quantity. But with the more aggressive weapons development by the North Korea over the past couple of years, missile development, another underground nuclear test, and certainly an escalation in the rhetoric, if not outright threats, to attack the United States. What's the take on him now? Is he attempting to bargain his way to the bargaining table to get aid and money, or is he a more serious threat than first imagined, or a more serious threat than his father?
Well, as you note, Jim, there are a lot of unknowns here. But we have to take seriously every provocative, bellicose word and action that this new young leader has taken so far since he's come to power. We've seen some historical trajectory here on where North Korea occasionally will go to try to get the attention of the United States, to try to maneuver us into some position favorably to them, whether it's more assistance or bilateral engagement. But the fact is that this is the wrong way to go. The action that he's taken and the actions they've taken and the words he's used is not going to project a more responsible, accountable relationship.
And is it the belief that he's in charge, or is the North Korean military leadership in
Well,
charge?
he's the leader. I mean, he's the leader of North Korea.
Mr. Secretary, beyond the heightened rhetoric, have you seen any moves that suggest any kind of imminent military steps by the North Koreans that we should be concerned about?
Okay. Let me ask. I'm going to respond to it.
Yeah, as you know, we're in our annual exercise cycle, so are they. And so there have been moves in the maritime domain on each coast, as well as some of the artillery units that are across the demilitarized zone from Seoul. So yeah, there have been movements. We haven't seen anything that would cause us to believe there are movements other than consistent with historic patterns and training exercises.
And no reaction then to the B-2s that you're aware of?
Well, the reaction to the B-2 that we're most concerned about is not necessarily the reaction it might elicit in North Korea, but rather among our Japanese and Korean allies. You know, those exercises are mostly to assure our allies that they can count on us to be prepared and to help them deter conflict.